And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Michael Dellarocca, spiritual leader and science teacher that left the Department of Education and created a self-empowerment community on YouTube, which today we're going to learn about and more. Michael, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Jeff, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, connecting with you and other people.
Michael, let's start with your spiritual journey and how you ended up leaving the Department of Education.
Well, I think many people start their spiritual journey from childhood, and that's really when we're children, the inner child is who we really are. And, I always knew something when I was a child, but then, actually through YouTube itself and learning through other people, studying documentaries later in life, I kind of had a little bit of intel of what was going on in my mind ever since I was a child. So earlier on my journey, I knew certain things. A little bit later in my life, I competed in bodybuilding competitions. And, when you train for a bodybuilding show, you have to be very strict with your diet. And I ate very clean for many months. And actually, that's what's really cleared out my mind. And you start seeing the world differently. A lot of people that, they think, working out, it's just about muscle. It's just about, certain aspects of the physical, but it's really about the mind as well. And I met actually a lot of spiritual people, doing the bodybuilding training. So, more years passed and kind of developed chronic fatigue. And, a lot of people, this is also known as an ascension symptom. Some people might be new to this. People are experiencing ascension symptoms like chronic fatigue, ringing in the ears, which eventually I experienced. But, I went to the doctors, was always healthy. There's nothing wrong with you. And eventually on YouTube, I started studying things. And I came across Nikola Tesla and the secrets of vibration and frequency. And I learned about the 528 hertz frequency, known as the miracle tone, a frequency that could restore your DNA to its original perfect state. And a lot of people, they meditate with 528 hertz. So I learned about it. And then on YouTube, I actually started sleeping with that frequency on. And I always say you have to have firsthand experience for things, especially when it's supernatural or spiritual, and actually seeing a change in my energy levels, sleeping more efficiently. People could say, oh, it's just the sound, what could it do? But the 528 hertz, which they call the miracle tone, I actually experienced a massive change in my life, my energy levels for the better. I was a science teacher, loved science. And I began my journey of combining science and spirituality. They have these terms for these things nowadays. They call it trans-rational spirituality, not spiritual wackadoo spirituality. Some people, think it's a little wackadoo, but no, there's actually science. And what I do on my channel is really taking, maybe some of these spiritual, metaphysical aspects of life. Some people here, meditate with the frequencies. What's these frequencies? Well, Tesla said, if anyone is not familiar with Nikola Tesla, he was a great scientist. But because of certain things, the way the world works, he had great inventions to give everyone free energy. But this man said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And when we actually think in those simple terms, then we could start to improve the quality of our everyday life. And, I have a YouTube channel, and I call it Our Everyday Lives, because the spiritual journey, it's not for, only certain gurus. It's for all people. I'm just a common man, just like everyone else. And I'm utilizing all of these concepts that I teach on a daily basis. And I've improved my life and changed my life. A lot of people are going through massive changes. They said 2020 was the year of clear vision, and people are seeing the world clearly now. We live in a matrix. I speak about the Matrix. Also a tremendous documentary, or Keanu Reeves. But the matrix, it's not like we're literally, plugged into something. We're plugged into a matrix. People could say, how is this matrix built? The matrix is built off of subconscious programs. And you might be new to this. That's the science behind this. 95% of the day, you are running off of subconscious programs. So only 5% of the day we're actually awake. If you hear the terms, oh, this person is sleeping, well, they're running off subconscious programs. In nature, we download subconscious programs from birth to the age of 7 or 8. That's through design. It's very important, and through repetition. So we could see things that are broadcasted on a television program. They tell you it's a program. Why? Because they're programming your subconscious mind. So 95% of the day, you've downloaded all these subconscious programs. You're living in a matrix of lack, a matrix of fear. We were sharing before we got on. I listened to someone that you interviewed, and he broke down the science of this being a prison planet, right? The prison, right, is in the mind. It's subconscious programs. Oh, we're in fear. People have seen this, right? Spiritually, we're in biblical times. They said the devil will come down with great anger, for he knows his time is short. Look at the world since 2020, right? We're going through a massive shift. It's called the event. And the event is the expansion of human consciousness. So there's people that are listening to this right now. I want you to reflect on your life and think about how much you've changed since 2020. I bet you're not the same person that you were in 2020. I bet you're not the same person that you were in 2015 or 2012 or maybe even 2001. And what we're going through right now, it's going through the people until we reach critical mass. That when we use the term or the spiritual term of waking up, you're becoming more conscious. You're having a more conscious reality. So in 2021, I was threatened by my old job to do something in order to stay there. And I said, I'm okay. I'm going to make the world a better place. And on YouTube, I have daily classes, 9 a.m. Eastern time now. And I teach people how to improve their life. And I'm showing people as a lighthouse, right? So Jeff, like, we can't go out there and tell people how to live their life. Wake up. You want to wake up? We can't do that. All we could do is be a lighthouse. So I'm here in front of all these people every single day as a lighthouse, how I changed my entire life, how I'm using the real sciences, right? Using metaphysics, spirituality to totally reconstruct my entire life. And people see me as a lighthouse. So anyone's listening, the lighthouse doesn't have to go out into the ocean and go look for ships. The lighthouse stands firmly and blasts its light out into the ocean. And then the light, right, will attract the ships. The ships will go over to the light. And people are seeing this right now. And they say, you know what? I want to improve my life. And it keeps moving forward and moving forward. And that's how we're going through a shift. For years before this really became it's my vocation, but this is what I do now. I loved this. And I said, wow, look at all this stuff. It's improving my life. And I did this work for free. And people have asked me, how do you make a shift? And all you have to do is get in resonance with your service and being connected with God. And once you start doing it, eventually the path opens, right? So on my channel, I talk about real spirituality, not, make a potion, sprinkle some dust and manifest. People like, oh, everyone's big on manifesting. But how do we really manifest? And you're going to have to build a plan. Who was a scientist that did this? His name was Nikola Tesla. And now I'm the modern scientist sharing this to other people. Nikola Tesla sat there and he shared how he would, come up with his inventions in his mind. Then he would, put it on paper. And eventually, all of a sudden, it was here in this reality. He took it from whatever you want to call it. Some people call it the fifth dimension. They're taking it from higher dimensions and bringing it down. He said, I am the receiver. So every person is experiencing a reality, right? And some people could call this time period, a biblical time period, the rapture. And some people say, half the people are having one experience and half the people are having another experience according to their perception. Tesla said, I am the receiver. So we're all receiving a broadcast and we are all putting out a broadcast into the ether, he called it. So whatever we put out to the universe will come back as ripples and waves. I've actually done a full video on this. Like some people in the spiritual community, they say, "Oh, it's all about the vibes, man. It's all about the vibes."
Michael, let me stop you for a second because I want to go back to something you said in the beginning. Chronic fatigue is a symptom of the Ascension. We've spoken about the Ascension many times, and I've never heard about that. What are the other symptoms of the Ascension?
So when we're talking about Ascension, and it's not just some like spiritual term, the frequency of your body, which has trillions of cells. Jeff, you're a nuclear power plant. You have trillions of cells, 1.4 volts. You have over 700 trillion volts of electricity. And the people on the TV tell you have no power. So what we're doing is we're actually waking up our power. You're actually changing your frequency. You think that's fun? Do you think the caterpillar feels good when it's in the cocoon and it goes through something called Heinrich, where its insides liquefy and then it comes out as a beautiful butterfly? So the ascension process is not easy. So chronic fatigue is one thing. Ringing in the ears. I've shared this story many times. It's on my journey. And it's very important to pay this forward. I'm sharing this with people. I've had a mentor, he was going through the spiritual awakening before I was. And I'm going through this fatigue and I'm talking to him and I'm starting to, learn all these things. All of a sudden, my ears start ringing. And then it was accompanied by pressure in the head. I was very nervous. I share about ascension symptoms because I know if you don't have a place that nobody knows what's going on, right? So you got to learn a little bit about it. I went to the doctor, the ear, nose, and throat doctor. I go in there. I said, I got ringing in the ears. He opens up my ears. He's looking inside. Right, looks good. He puts me in a soundproof booth. And as I hear, my ears are ringing loud. And then he tests me. And he's raise your hand wherever you hear the sound. Come out of the booth. He goes, you have perfect hearing, perfect health. You hear these stories about these people that hear this sound and they don't know where it comes from. Well, good luck. And that was my my real life experience, real life stories. We like to share real life stories, but it is funny. I was not happy at the time. I was kind of terrified, but honestly, the ringing kind of settled in, and now my ears ring all the time. And I was actually terrified in the beginning when this was happening. I'm like, oh, I'll never hear quiet again. But it was very loud. People say that this is the pineal gland. So we actually have a gland inside of our brain, which on a lot of scans looks like it's calcified. They call it the calcified pineal gland. But when we're awakening it, it's almost like we're because it's also kind of accompanied with pressure. So it's not really a sound. We're actually having the experience of energy.
What do you think this realm will look like or be like once the ascension is completed?
Well, we're experiencing it already. Everything is a frequency. So I've used this a lot. I think a lot of people will really resonate with this. You're picking up a frequency, right? So if you want to use spiritual terms, we're leaving the old age of Pisces and we're entering the age of Aquarius. And your reality is a frequency that you're picking up, right? So now we're in the car. We have the radio on, right? So you have one station on, right? We've had this terrible age of Pisces, control, structures beating us down, right? Lack, limitation, fear. Now we're moving forward. And now all of a sudden you're picking up the new station. So when you're in a car and you're driving, you're listening to one radio station, and then you start picking up a new station. The problem, there's a lot of dissonance. So a lot of people on my channel, a lot of people are experiencing this, right? Like, oh, I think things are getting better. Then it doesn't get better. I have shared, and many people have shared, we actually see new plant life, new insects, like even where I live, lived in New York. I'm always here, I have seen changes. And most importantly, Jeff, people have noticed the change in the sun. The sun is changing. It's going up another octave. So when the frequency of the sun changes, we all have to change with it. The sun is much more powerful than us. Many years ago, people, anyone listening to this right now used to draw a beautiful yellow sun. Now you go outside, the sun looks like it's white with an indigo halo around it. And if anyone wants to leave in the comments, do you notice a massive change in the sun? It almost has more of a white color. It doesn't look like that yellow sun. And I'm not talking about before, like sunrise and sunset, but when it's up in the sky, it's more powerful. It's almost like it's going up another octave. We're all changing. And something that we have, so you say, what's the scientific evidence that we have of this change in frequency? It's called the Schumann resonance. On my channel, anytime there's a massive spike and then we could have these strange symptoms, the frequency of the planet is called the Schumann resonance. Tesla spoke about it as well. He actually built something called the amplifying antenna that could actually pull energy from the ionosphere, which is a layer of the atmosphere above our head with electrically charged particles. So from that kind of dome that's over our head to the surface of the earth, in that cavity, there is a vertical current, which is known as the Schumann resonance. And the Schumann resonance is tracked. And since 2019, we're getting more spikes, glitches. We were talking about glitches before we got on this chat tonight. Spikes, glitches, blackouts in the Schumann resonance. Blackouts where there's nothing registered, like there's nothing. They say that creation is done in the void. So we're going to a higher timeline, and it's not so easy because we're kind of seeing two realities playing out simultaneously. They actually show you this in the movies. They have all these new videos with the multiverse, multiple timelines. But it's literally happening right now. And the evidence is shown in the Schumann resonance. And if anyone, follows our channel, anytime that Schumann resonance really spikes or has a massive glitch, I do an update on it. And coincide, because my community is on every continent. People that could be on different sides of the country or on different continents having similar experiences. Or some people are hearing this and you say, you know what, randomly I woke up in the middle of the night. Also another Ascension symptom. Some people wake up at like 3 a.m. in the middle of the night for no reason. Some days you might feel very sluggish. You might feel, heart palpitations. You feel strange. A woman actually spoke about this time period. Her name was Dolores Cannon. I encourage anyone to check her out. She's no longer alive. But the things that she spoke about this time period read like a book. So there actually is evidence. And we're the waves of volunteers. It was prophesied in the Hopi prophecy. And we're different colors, classes, and creeds. And we're waves. We're coming in waves. Now there's a massive wave, like a tsunami wave of people waking up. And we're here to actually change the world. That's what the Hopi prophecy talks about. So when we say, the new earth, everything is changing. The frequency, the lower vibrations, any system, anything of the world that is on a lower frequency and vibration, fear, guilt, shame, it can no longer exist. The earth, like a little flea, like flick off a little flea, all of these things we all have to raise our frequency in order to match the new frequency of the reality, right? The stronger sun, the new frequency, the Schumann resonance is changing. So we're also changing. And I don't know about you, Jeff, and you could share if you want, my palate has changed over the past few years. A lot of us, we no longer can eat like a lot of the processed foods. I'm actually eating more fruit, hydrating more, eating less, which is a big thing. A lot of people eating less now. I don't know if that resonates with you. Are you experiencing that as well?
About a year ago, I decided to participate in Ramadan. Even though I'm not Muslim, I just wanted to follow that dietary practice. And ever since then, I almost live that way, where I eat so much less. Is that due to the Ascension, that it's easy to do? I'm not sure. And, I have amazing guests like you that I talk to every single day. So I've made changes in my life, but I don't know if it's due to just speaking to the guests or the Ascension, or even possibly a combination of the both?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of the both. It's almost like something called the 100th monkey effect. It's in the ether right now. People even come up with ideas at the same time, certain feelings. But recently I shared about that. And why are we eating less? I've learned. So, and I'm trying to be as honest and authentic as possible. I come from a bodybuilder lifestyle. I'm into my health, fitness, but on that lifestyle, it's eat 5 times a day, heavy meals, get big. And I've changed a lot. And, my strength is actually the same. My body's going through a shift right now. And people might say, well, why do we have, I didn't, that's why, the our everyday lives aspect, I was there. I would say, well, what do I got to fast for? I learned you eat protein, you work out, you exercise. But some of this swelling, especially a lot of people lately, a lot of swelling, water retention, we have to think about the poisons, the heavy metals, the fluoride, anything that comes in the body. Well, our body wants to naturally get rid of it. I did a full video. The water needs to flow, right? You drink water, water in, water out, carries all the toxins out. Well, we need that time of fasting. It actually allows the body to detox. So many people do intermittent fasting, full fasting. I've incorporated a lot of the lemon water recently, and all of these things, really help the body purge. So that is our journey. When we think of the battlefield of the world, it is not perfect. This is not unicorns and rainbows. This is the world we're in right now. So it's not a perfect world, but we're in the world. And, like detoxing, working on our health. I did a tremendous cilantro video with my world famous hummus, Jeff. You got to get the cilantro going.
I need to see that. Yeah. Michael, I want to switch gears with you. You talk quite a bit on your channel about the solar flash. What is that about?
Yeah, so like we were originally sharing a little bit earlier in this discussion tonight, the sun is changing. So the sun is like going up another octave. So we could already, number one, people are witnessing, and that's why I encourage real life comments. Please leave comments on this video. Do you see changes in the sun already? The truth cannot be told. I can't sit here and tell people the sun is changing. You can't go out, and that's what we're all learning right now. Like, we can't go out on the TV and let false idols tell us what's going on. The truth cannot be told. It can only be realized. So anyone, if you realize that the sun looks a little different to me, it seems brighter, it seems more white, the color changes, share that. But I've experienced that, especially around the time period of 2012. That's when the sun started to really change. The sun is going up if you want to say regular solar flares. Solar flares in the past year have now increased. We have multiple X-class solar flares. I did a video April of last year with a massive X3 class solar flare. I said this is going to become the norm. I always encourage a call to action. If you're new to this, check out how many X-class and massive solar flares we've had already this year. We're in a massive solar cycle where everything is increasing. So the solar flash is almost like an energetic burst, and it's more like solar flashes. Now, will there be a massive solar flash in the future? Maybe, possibly. Have we already been hit with something? Yes. In December of 2020, when the Schumann resonance went off the chart, we had to use different, there's 2 main charts. We had to go to a different one. A lot of people were feeling a lot of pain in the solar plexus region, the stomach region during that time period. And that video is still on the channel page. So, and again, we all have to go into your personal time machine if you're new. Some people have been part of the journey with me for a while. And think back to December of 2020. And think if you've gone through these massive symptoms. We're leveling up. This energy goes within us. Because how does this energy change us, right? So the solar flash, it's really upgrade. It's not something to be fearful of. It's something to say, yeah, here we go. We're going to the solar flash. It's a great thing because we're getting back in tune with nature. our DNA receptors are taking in the light codes. Light codes are not spiritual wackadoo. Like a lot of people in the spiritual community speak about light codes. Light codes. And again, I try to teach these things in real life aspects. So springtime comes, the ants are deep within the ground, right? All of a sudden they know, start going up. They're getting signals that travels through solid matter, codes. Plants in the house, you can't see it all from this angle. Plants in the house tend to, even though it's by a wall, they know how to grow towards a window. They're getting codes. So we're all getting codes to upgrade and change ourselves. We don't have junk DNA. 93% of the function of DNA is light and sound reception and transmission. So your whole life, when they told you in the old textbooks, well, you have junk DNA, human. You actually don't have junk DNA. So only a small fraction of our DNA. So everything is a small fraction. A small fraction of your DNA is for your traits. Most of it has to deal with your past lives. A lot of people are starting to remember their past lives, new skills. You start developing new skills. Anyone that's listening to this, right? You might all of a sudden, certain things are like so easy for you, second nature, and some things you really struggle with. Well, those are the things that we came in this life to learn. So certain things that we've done maybe in past lives, it's really easy for us. And some things become more difficult. So that whole heap and junk of part of junk DNA, it has to deal with light, and the DNA is coiled like the Tesla coil. So it's actually an energy amplifier. So now we bring it all together. You're raising your vibrational frequency as the earth, the Schumann resonance, is raising its vibrational frequency, and how the sun, the great solar flash, is going up another octave and raising its vibrational frequency.
Do you feel that global warming is caused by these changes from the sun?
Yeah. So, everyone knows we shouldn't pollute. I'm not big on polluting, but I think that, a lot of people, listen, a lot of people like the Matrix. They like their bread and circus. These things they're not their celebrities. They're not, it's not the hip thing. They just, I'm just going to watch my TV, go back to work. Well, the sun is changing, and you're feeling like, I could even explain it to people, like even sometimes where you're outside and again, you have to go inside when it's, say, the temperature is 75 degrees, but you actually feel the sun on your body. It actually feels like it's much hotter. Your perception, right? So again, a small fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum is visible light. It's only a small fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. So there's many other lights and energies that are coming in that we're blind to. Usually in this realm, Tesla called it a realm, wherever we are right now, but in this world, it manifests as thermal energy. So, and a lot of people are starting to witness this, like it's not making sense. Like they might even feel hotter at a lower temperature, different changes. So, the sun is changing, and, I think we all have to learn that we have to become self-empowered and stop going outside to, an exterior source. And, we could become empowered and, look at, something like, they talk about global warming, but it's not what they're leading you to believe. And again, we're not, everyone shouldn't pollute and all that stuff. But a lot of this also is about free will. So what we definitely don't want, which you will see, Jeff, is the push, and they're actually talking about it now. We don't want straight liney clouds sprayed in the sky, Jeff. Straight liney clouds with spindles coming out of it, Jeff. I don't know if you've ever seen those straight liney clouds in the sky.
I think so. Within this matrix that you speak of, do you think we all created it collectively, or some other beings created it and we're trapped here?
It's both. But obviously, we need physical people, but there's energies and how, programming is done. If you watch The Matrix, Morpheus says some people will actually defend the matrix itself. They don't want to be unplugged. They don't want to wake up. So yeah, I mean, some people do, but again, just like science, science answers questions with the information available at the time. A lot of people didn't have this information. That's why I started my channel, Jeff. Because I could, and I'm sure there's many people listening to this right now. There's so many things that I could sit back and say, wow, I wish I knew this when I was younger. It would have saved me so much effort if I knew the truth. If I knew these things, I could have not wasted so much time. I would have been that much further ahead. And some people hear a world famous phrase. It's called knowledge is power. So let's really look at this phrase. If knowledge is power, therefore, the lack of knowledge is the lack of power. And now you know why there's so many attempts to hide the truth. So people do create the matrix, but they're only using the information that was brought down generation after generation. This event is it's not even a once in a lifetime event. It's a once in an ever event where the consciousness of all of humanity is uplifted all at once. And the changes we can't even imagine the changes that we're going to see. And the changes in technology, improving our lives. And when we run more efficiently and there is less pollution, we're going to see better, plant life and different, aspects of the world totally change. I mean, they even said back in 2020 when the world was nice and quiet and still, and the whales started coming back, people actually started witnessing this change. But even in the Hopi Blue Star prophecy, they said in the end times, people will be lost. And it was just like, hurry up, get back to work, get back to work. And from this time, the spiritual journey at a mass scale, because once the ride stopped, people were waking up. Oh, I'm back with my family. What's important in life? Is the money important, or is it the people? And people are starting to wake up about this right now. I talk about real science terms. There's the fake survival of the fittest competition. It's actually cooperation. And the more that people actually cooperate and stop beating down their brothers and sisters, and we all come together, we're coming together tonight, and we pick each other up. It's all about cooperation, and we stay focused on that. We actually improve the quality of our life. And actually learning these things, because a lot of the things that I'm sharing tonight, you thought it was survival of the fittest, competition, junk DNA, get out of the sun, all this stuff, and everything. It's like, if I went in the time machine and go back 20 years ago, people say, oh, this is all crazy talk, but this is how we improve our lives. Knowledge is the power, and let's have the real knowledge, and let's do it through firsthand experience. A lot of people are going through trials and tribulations. I actually have a Patreon, if anyone would like to join, and we have the 8 dimensions of wellness. Everyone is struggling with a certain aspect of their life. And, my life is different than yours. Yours is different than someone else that's listening. And we all bring something together. So we have to totally think differently about the world. And you might be struggling in an aspect of your life, whoever's listening to this, and you say, why is God putting me through this? And then you accomplish it, then you overcome it. Now you become an authentic teacher. Now you move forward and you could teach others. You teach others about the trials and tribulations and how you overcame it. So we're leaving the old age, the age of being told, the age of false idols, worshiping people, celebrities that don't have our best interest, especially our children's best interest in mind. And now we are the leaders, and we're sharing through the firsthand experience,
Another topic that I noticed you talk about on your channel is the rapture. Mm-hmm. Is this the same rapture in a biblical sense? And if so, are you implying that Jesus is going to return?
So when we look at the rapture, we look at anything. And again, everyone has free will to break anything down. We have to put a big question mark and anyone that's listening to this right now, how deep down the exploration you're going. I said, I've shared that the word is actually written in the DNA. The word is not written on paper by man. That's, rewritten the books many times. And, many people even know about the book of Enoch now, which, a lot of people don't have these books. They said there's even more books besides the book of Enoch that's been taken out. So let's just, just keep an open mind to everything. But, when we think, and some people take things very literal, but when we think about two frequencies, and I encourage everyone to leave a comment and reflect on your life, have people been disappearing from your life in the past 3 years? They're gone. They're on a different frequency. No matter what you say, you might want to share the truth. That's why I share to people, be the lighthouse. You want to share the truth. You're speaking. It doesn't matter what you say. They can't hear you anymore because they're on a different frequency. Now, as if you go back to the beginning of this conversation earlier, we're talking about our cells, our vibration is changing. Can we physically now? So, I mean, we're talking more or less, we're not talking to certain people. We're seeing, and people are seeing this within families, friends. People are disappearing. Everything's changing. Locations are changing. Is it possible that we will, whatever you want to call it, ascend or physically change our frequency? I always talk about this Native American man I heard in an interview years ago. And when I was younger, I didn't really understand it, but now I do. And the Native American man was in an area of Arizona. And he was talking about either, however you want to word it, extraterrestrial beings or interdimensional higher vibrational beings. And he said, they're here right now. They're here in this canyon, but you won't see them because they vibrate on a different frequency. So there are beings that are, there could be someone like next to you. So think about if people are raising their frequency so high, can they disappear? Now, I don't know if that's going to be a physical thing. I'm just sharing as authentically as I can with the science and everything that I've taken in over the course of my life. But I will say on my personal journey and others, I think people are witnessing others in their life disappear. Ascension isolation, we're talking about ascension symptoms. Many people find themselves in isolation. You are now on a different frequency. So people, things, and situations disappear like a snap from Thanos. People disappear from your life. The foods that you eat, all of a sudden, look at your fridge, different. Look at your friends, different. So many people, look at your spouse. Are you still with the same person? I don't know the answer. It's a call to action. Just reflect. And are we witnessing things disappear? People disappear. And then the next stage, will it be a physical change as well? That will, I think we're in, we're going through this shift right now. So if we connect it to the solar flash, if the sun goes up another octave, and it does happen in a flash, because a lot of people do get these bursts and they feel these pains and ascension symptoms. I mean, is it possible that, we go up in a flash? Possibly. The energy of Christ, the light of Christ is returning. And however you want to word it, but that energy of Christ is within people right now. And it's on a wider scale. Because this is, when Jesus said, the miracles that I do, you will do and greater. We were being prepared for this time period, and this time period is now.
Another topic that I noticed on your channel is about twin flames. Have you found your own twin flame?
Yes, yes, I have. I feel that journey gets a lot of, we were talking about this before we got on, but in YouTube land, a lot of fake, clickbait and stuff like that. This is not a journey of, find someone that is, oh, she's hot or he has muscles and this and that. You might find yourself alone for a long period of time. And all of a sudden you find someone that is just like you. And this person, it is almost like a dance. where they're exactly like you, but there's also a lot of stuff that's a little bit different than you. And as I'm going through this twin flame journey, it helps us level up. And I have reached new heights because of this. The journey is not, I mean, it is a love story, but it has such a deeper meaning to this, where I have accomplished things because now you have someone else, and it really puts you in a different perspective. So the twin flame journey really is you will connect with someone, and it really is supernatural. And how it works, and nothing makes sense, but you feel, oh, it's never going to happen. I went through this. Oh, I'm always going to be alone. I'm sharing authentically. I was alone for many years, and then all of a sudden, somehow it happens. And it's also it is urgent for the world that this happens, because as you go on this journey, you are actually leveling up each other. You're activating your superpowers, if you will, and you're able to start, when I said before, some of the things you struggle with. I think your twin flame actually, like almost like a puzzle piece, kind of completes certain things. So, she kind of like balances me out, and I balance her out. And it's really about finding balance. And that journey is in every person right now. It's all about the individual in the mind. It's called hemisync in science. You have the divine feminine and the divine masculine. You also have the right and left hemisphere of the brain. In science, it's called hemisync. This twin flame, it's really, it's helped me on my journey, and we level each other up, and you will probably be in alignment so I share about the law of 80-20. So I will say 80% of the time you will be in alignment and you're right there, and then there's 20% of the time where you're very opposite. But you need that. I needed it. We all have to be honest with us. It's not an easy thing. That is actually helping us, like grinding us and spiraling us upward. And the twin flame journey really, it catapults you, and it pushes you out of the comfort zone. But it's really a divine union, and it really does level you up.
Would you define your twin flame as something like your soulmate, or would you define it as your higher self having another incarnation in another body as the same time you're here?
It's I don't know really how to explain it. I would say for me personally, but I think everyone has their own opinion because we are all different. I don't know. I just think we're all ourselves, but it is something that completes you. It is such a familiarity. You're so familiar with the person. It's literally like your best friend, and you could sit there with no spoken word, and you could feel the energy. I could feel her. She could feel me. I could feel when she's up. She could feel when I'm up or down. So, but it's very intense. And, so I don't know. I like to encourage people to always be themselves. But I do feel it is someone that, I guess maybe is your soulmate. And you've done this. So I would say that and some of the things sound silly, but I just have these, and it's like kind of cute things, but I almost have like these memories of having past lives like on other planets, and as different life forms. And I joke around and say, remember when we were this, remember when we were that. So and again, it's just like certain things that just come to your mind. So I do feel it is a person that you've done this with before. And why do we need this to happen right now? Because we need to perform at our finest, because this is a very pivotal time period. So when people say, our twin flames getting back together now, yeah.
Do you feel like it's possibly a member of your soul group and you've reincarnated together over and over again?
So we definitely have soul groups on our journey. I'm very close with, so some people are not very close with their family. So my mother and father and sister, everything just flows with us. So this is not our first rodeo together. If anyone is new to this and on a spiritual journey, and this might sound weird, you actually choose your parents. Some people saying, what the heck did I do? But if you're really on this soul journey in this time, you actually chose your parents. So there's definitely soul groups, but even with me in Ireland, it is something that is more, it's different. It's like someone that just, like you've done this before, and you could see there's a lot of leadership, coaching, teaching, and just a drive. It's a different feeling. It's a different connection that you'll have with anyone else.
You appear to be a fan of Dolores Cannon's work. Are you aware of what she calls background people? And if so, what is your take on that?
So the best way I could explain that scientifically, right now we're having a conversation. We're awake, we're aware, we know exactly what's going on in the world. I won't say exactly, we always can learn more, but we know what's really going on in the world. And what background people really, if you want to, some people call it like NPCs in a video game. It's basically all it means is running 95% of subconscious programs. And you just run on subconscious programs. And the more that you say, oh, it's almost like a glitch in the matrix. You're literally glitching when you start doing the opposite, when you start going against the grain. And this is science. We all run on subconscious programs 95% of the time. Because of this prison planet that we're in, we were given these programs. It takes an incredible amount of energy to actually break these programs. You might be on a journey learning, like people might start listening to my videos and you're learning all this new stuff, and then you start getting tired and you want to go to sleep. And Dolores Cannon said that the truth can't come out all at once. It has to be slow, because it's true. The truth is just like too much for someone to handle all at once. So I would just say what that means is running off of subconscious programs 95% of the time.
Have you personally experienced the Mandela effect?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the Mandela effect is really more evidence of the rapture, of a split timeline. Some people talk about the 3D to 5D timeline split, many different words for this. The Mandela effect is something I encourage people, and on my channel, please go to my channel page. I have full videos on Mandela effects. Go through them. When you have this experience and you're sealed in the forehead, they talk about the seal in the forehead. It doesn't matter what they say. And this is the big one for me. Until now and forever, and this is something that I watched every day as a child. Mr. Rogers sang, "It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood." And now if you watch any of those videos, in every video, he sings, "It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood." And when you see that glitch and you experience it, but it's got to be something that you've done. So I did a video originally, it only takes one. When you see this glitch that cannot be unseen, once you see, you cannot unsee. Like people are seeing, "No, I am your father," instead of "Luke, I am your father." They're seeing these little glitches. And the biggest, if anyone's listening in right now doesn't know, the Mandela effect came when people realized, I believe back in like 2013, that Nelson Mandela died. And they said, how did he die now? He died in prison many years prior. This is not possible. And that started the Mandela. And so many people are seeing all these different glitches in reality. One of the biggest ones, I think it could be called the Ed McMahon effect. That's the biggest one, I think, is Ed McMahon.
You mean from Johnny Carson?
From Publishers Clearinghouse.
I remember those commercials.
So we'll do this live on the air right now. You remember Ed McMahon working for Publishers Clearinghouse?
Mm-hmm.
And what if I told you Ed McMahon never for Publishers Clearinghouse.
I don't know if I've seen him, but I at least thought he has done the voiceover for the commercial.
A lot of people remember him. I feel it's the biggest Mandela, because so many people remember him coming to the door with the check. And this is really a big topic. I feel like I have to do almost a weekly on the Mandela effect. Ed McMahon never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse, and there's things called Mandela effect residue. So if we're thinking of the timeline or the reality as a frequency, and something changes in the frequency, so that aspect of him working there, it never happened. So there's things called residue. There is an episode on, it's David Letterman. Johnny Carson is on the David Letterman show, and he goes, Ed McMahon's not here, but he wanted you to have this big check. And if you freeze the frame, it says Ed McMahon, Publishers Clearinghouse. So in this reality, if Ed McMahon never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse, why is Johnny Carson, and anyone could look at this, why is he holding a check with Ed McMahon and Publishers Clearinghouse? And then you will start awaken to the reality.
That's amazing. So do you think that this effect is caused by the matrix resetting itself?
So to be honest with you, if anyone says they know exactly what it is, they don't know. When you think about different timelines merging, you're seeing like a merge of timelines. Like no one knows, you know. And I always encourage people to leave comments. You know, when you think of frequencies, as I shared before, when you're picking up on a radio station, and then you're picking up a little bit of another radio station, you hear a little like all these strange things. And so many people are experiencing personal Mandela effects, things disappearing, especially lately, things I'm looking at it's gone. And then I walk back and it's like not hidden. It's like right in the open. I'm like, how did I not see it? And it's right there. So people, and I mean, that's a personal experience. It's not like we're all sharing about Ed McMahon or sharing about the Monopoly Man's monocle that never existed, even though it's an Ace Ventura pet detective. So that's just residue. People remember Jiffy peanut butter. I remember Jiffy peanut butter. It never existed. When I was younger, when I was a boy, this is not older Mike, like researching the Mandela effect. When I was a boy, they call it the seal in the forehead. When I was a boy, my mother had a Lazy Susan. She had the peanut butter in the Lazy Susan. And I remember looking at it and I saw a GIF and I said, oh, they must have changed it. They shortened the name. And I said this as like a 10-year-old boy. And then, 20 years later or whatever, I learned about the Mandela effect. And I said, it's right here.
What about people who see orbs? Some people will take pictures and it's in their camera, but it doesn't happen to everybody.
That was a main, so that really, when I say inspired, because as a science mind, to have firsthand experience of spirit orbs, I was fascinated by it. A science mind, I'm seeing this. Years ago, I saw like these orbs in pictures. And this is before like when the digital cameras just started, not on your phone, like you had to have a digital camera. I'm seeing these orbs. Then I had a camera phone, a video. Now I'm filming the orbs. I actually have some of the clips on one of my videos on the channel page. And a lot of people say it's some of the best footage ever caught, so if anyone wants to check it out. But so now I'm looking at, and I was just so fascinated. And that really, it started my consciousness to expand on this spiritual journey. Like there's more, like this physical life of our body is there's so much more out there that we can't even see. I personally, on my journey, I don't really see orbs. I've had a handful of times where I've seen supernatural things, but just a handful. I don't see them all. I've met people that would actually see them, but I used to film them. And it really inspired me. And when we think about the electromagnetic spectrum, these lights are out of the spectrum of visible light. There are things that are around us, and it might scare people, but it's okay. There's things that are around us that are on a wavelength that's beyond the visible light spectrum. So, the spirit orbs was, a really big awakening for my journey. It inspired me, the science, the spiritual aspect, to have evidence, you know, and then go there and have a camera and see it for myself and see it for myself. I encourage people to really, I'm just like all of you. Like when you want to say, oh, there's so much to this world, when you have the firsthand experience, then it changes you.
We've talked a lot about your YouTube channel, but I haven't even let people know what the name of it is. Can you tell us?
Oh, yes. It's Our Everyday Lives. I think I mentioned it before, but my YouTube channel is Our Everyday Lives. And I do a daily video at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, please subscribe if I resonate with you. And, I do it every single day. I show up. I tell people show up every day. So I do show up every day. And I make sure I'm present every day, no matter what, whether it's live stream or just a video or something. I set a precedent years ago. I said, I'm going to learn at least one new thing every day. Some people are wasting their time. Biblically, they say it's about bread and circus. So we have content every day to help you learn, to help you expand your mind. We have to, and I set that for myself. And everything, you know, I always say practice what you preach. That's all I've done for the channel. Practice what you preach. So I said I'm going to learn something new every day, and that's what I just try to pay it forward to everyone.
If people want to ask you questions, should they do that in the comments in your videos?
Yes, I do get a lot of comments. So if I do have, I am on live, I would say more than 70% of the time. Over the course of these past few years, I really segued from pre-recorded to making myself present. And I do love it. You know, when I see, you know, a lot of people on the live stream, it actually pumps me up. But people write to me on the live stream. People do leave comments. And then I do separately, I do have a Patreon, and I host a Zoom meeting once a week on Patreon where we all collaborate together. You know, people really love it. It's really about community. And, you know, that's really what it's all about. It's about all of us together. So, yeah, I mean, comments, being on the live stream, and, you know, I have a Twitter now. I have a Telegram, which we spoke of. So, yeah, I do have a Telegram and a Twitter. You know, we'll share that stuff as well.
Do you have a website?
Actually, no, I don't have a website. You know, the main aspect is the YouTube. So, you know, when I kind of really, you know, started all this, I was not a social media person. I was a scientist and a leader, and I just kind of figured things out. So, yeah, I mean, I have the YouTube, I have the Patreon, which I guess, so I'm not really great at, you know, all this other stuff. So I actually use the Patreon as more or less the website, and it's a reputable and trustable source that people kind of know. But honestly, I don't have the skills. Operating YouTube is it's kind of, you know, hard enough for me. But I just been using using these tools that are out there. They're all tools. I share this all the time. Technology is not good or bad. It is a tool. And it's the person that's behind the technology and the vibration that's behind the technology.
Michael, before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Have the inexhaustible belief in yourself. My father taught me when I was younger, you could accomplish anything you put your mind to. And I just never stopped what I was doing. There's a lot of trials and tribulations. There's a lot of bumps in the road that people will never know about. You have to believe in yourself, and don't be afraid of being alone, because the crowd is the matrix. No one could stop you, but they will try to implant things in your mind that creates something terrible called self-doubt. You have to believe in yourself. It's a very special place, and you'll find this place. And once you've reached that place where you could just be all by yourself, nothing could touch you. And you can't, you can't have the fear, the guilt, the shame, all of these frequencies. You have to strive for the truth. The truth is higher than love on the consciousness scale. It is such a drive. When you could just be yourself, society trains you to wear the mask, take the mask off, and show the world who you are. And I've done this because when I started this, some people, oh, well, this is a little crazy. What's going on? But I just kept moving forward, and I believed in myself. And now it's become such a big thing. And you meet, your life improves. You meet new people, new situations, things that you actually never believed that you could accomplish, you can accomplish. So I want everyone leaving this tonight knowing that you can do anything simply if you have the inexhaustible belief in yourself.
Michael, thank you for that message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. It was a pleasure to connect with you, and hope to do this again.
Likewise, and I will hopefully see you very soon.
Take care.
You too. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.